the Delta Fox roster announcement was a fantastic publicity stunt by Rick Fox and Echo Fox as an organization. I think this is just going to bring a ton of fans to the Echo Fox brand, but he'll still want to retain these fans by doing great videos, obviously, of Delta Fox, but incorporating Echo Fox with that as well, and incorporating how he handles his business as a organization. And he's going to be forever known for this. I mean, he's going to leave his mark on the challenger scene. And everyone's throwing around the whole number of 8 million as a fan social reach. I mean, obviously, the numbers kind of cross pollinate with each other because one person can be subscribed to both a Instagram, a Twitch, and a Twitter. But 8 million is very impressive, and it just goes to show that he's looking to do this mainly as a publicity stunt and to bring recognition to the Echo Fox brand, which is just extremely smart, and he's brilliant for jumping on this. And the NALCS teams, I mean, they're no longer going to have an incentive to get into the challenger scene, uh, because you can't, first of all, you can't have a sister team get into the LCS. And then secondly, it's going to be franchise. So everyone's going to get into the LCS through an application process, not necessarily their LCS spots that they have currently. But if you do get into the LCS spot, it's kind of like an accolade on your application to say like, hey, I am good enough, to get an organization into the LCS. And if Rick Fox can do two teams into that, then that just goes to show like, okay, maybe this organization does have a little bit of something to offer to North America and through the whole Riot scene and everything. So I mean, this does still mean though that the new challenger teams should fight hard. Temple Storm is a great example in that it's kind of a voucher to say like, hey, we're climbing through the ranks. We're proving that we want to invest within Riot and within League of Legends. So we're going to fight our way through the challenger scene and show you that we are actually capable of being a LCS caliber team and organization. And I think with this new Delta Fox team too, it's gonna offer insane viewership numbers for the challenger scene. And it'll be really nice for the teams that are facing against Delta Fox, as kind of a way to show off their skills or whatnot. And these players, these challenger players that are all on these teams, they still have an incentive to do very well too, because although if their team doesn't make it into the LCS, they still have kind of a application to say like, hey, I'm really good, and maybe you should pick me up as a sub for your team. Because as we know, when franchising happens, all of these big organizations are going to have extra money to throw around. And I think one area that they will do it in is in substitutes, so that they can build people up to maybe one day join a main roster or whatnot. So it's really important for these challenger players to actually go ham this season. And I want to talk a little bit about the team, and that they don't have a former jungler or support. I mean, Scarra and Shiphtur were mid laners, and Dyrus and Voyboy were top laners, and then you have Cutie, who's ADC. So it shows that they're lacking in two of these positions. And I mean, everyone was saying that, man, that would have been crazy if Dom would have got on this team too. Like, that would just work out super perfectly. And I think so too. But I mean, I think all these players are kind of good enough to fill those other roles as well. I mean, so my assumptions for these roles, Cutie is obviously going to be ADC just because he's He's incredibly good at it, to be honest. As cocky as he fucking is, he's very good at ADC. And then you have Dyrus in the top lane. I think he's pretty uncontested in terms of this team and who should be in the top lane. But the other three roles I think are going to be really dynamic, and that's a good thing though, because it's going to be good as far as meta advantage in that if the meta shifts to a particular strength of whatever roles, then it's going to give a advantage for a specific player to actually pick up that role and excel in it. And this team is also going to be great for the pick and ban phase because you don't know who's going to play and what role. So it's going to be very difficult for these other coaches and teams to actually track down and decide what they want to do against this team during pick and ban. And not only that, but these players are legacy players. I mean, they've been playing since like day one. So they just have a ton of experience with a ton of different champions. So they can pull out anything at a moment's notice. So you never know really what they're going to run. You know, are you going to have to ban Voyboy's Yasuo? Are you going to have to ban, Scarra's Katarina? So it's just going to be a lot of difficult things for these other teams to juggle. And speaking of pick and ban, Mark Z as the head analyst is a fantastic choice. I mean, this guy, he already does casting for the challenger scene, and he was also a coach for Team Liquid and been on the analyst desk for Riot and the NALCS. And he is also known for his YouTube blame game videos where he does a VOD review of basically saying if Reddit was right in blaming a specific person or wrong in that instance. So he's very good at breaking down a lot of a team's macro decisions and why they do the things that they do. But also, I think one of his big weaknesses was managing internal problems within Team Liquid. I mean, just right before he left, it was turning into like this internal strife and everything was just like kind of about to explode. So he just kind of bounced before, everything did explode. And I think part of that was because he wasn't good at managing these players and to kind of have these personalities click and to create compromises within the team. So, but to go on that though, I don't think he's going to have a problem with that in this team too. I don't even think this team needs a head coach, and I think that's why Mark Z is just the head analyst. I mean, he's just going to give them information on the meta, what's going on with the meta in terms of like the NALCS and then the challenger scene and then Korea. And he's going to know the picks for these other challenger teams and, what pocket picks that they have. And that's really about it. And that's all this meme stream dream team really needs, right? Because they're able to manage themselves and to decide for themselves because they're older players. And I think too what helps is that they don't have a stress to win. I mean, even if they don't win, it's not really gonna fuck over their careers at all. And there's no stress to win because they can't even get into the LCS anyways. So it's majorly just a publicity stunt, and it's kind of a chance for them to build their personal brand through the professional scene one last time. And I mean, to go on another point though, the money for this team must have been nuts. I mean, to even get Cutie Pie alone is a pretty big accomplishment. I mean, we know that before Team Liquid tried to get Cutie on the team when they were facing relegations, and he declined it. And I think that partly it was because of, you know, maybe money, and more specifically though, they were facing relegation, so there was a lot on the line, and there was a lot for his career if, you know, they failed. So it was a smart move for him to avoid that, but to jump on this is a brilliant move. And I actually think this team is gonna go far in the challenger scene. I think all these players are still really good and still really relevant. And we haven't seen these players play professionally and very seriously in quite a while. So it's gonna be fun on a bun to see these guys actually go at it in the challenger scene. And I know everyone else is excited for this too. So we'll see how Delta Fox does. I'm stoked. And if you guys liked the video too, you know, subscribe, whatever, hit me up on Twitter, you know the thing. And yeah, keep it real, and talk to you guys later.